That's all.
Yeah, I know.
That's all. Pretty much anything goes.
Yeah.
We're live, Jeff.
We're live.
Live at 5. Live fives.
That's it.
Oh, boy.
We're live.
Oh, boy.
Hi, ladies and gents.
Hi.
This is my very first live stream. I want to introduce you to Jeff SCHWERTFEGER. Jeff SCHWERTFEGER is...
I am a B. I've been playing drums for about 18 years. No.
18 minutes.
18 minutes.
18 and a half minutes of drum practice.
I refer to them as membranophones because they're vibrating membranes.
They are resonant logs.
Yeah. With animal hides stretched along the tops of them to create symbiotic frequencies.
What sort of animal hides do you prefer specifically to stretch across your membranophones, Jeff?
Goat bladder. I notice it's very it just resonates more like a timpani. Thank you. Goodbye. It's been a good stream.
And what are we going to be doing on our resonant logs today?
Talking about polymeters and how it's not just a metric choice, it's a life choice.
It is a life choice. Personally, one of my favorite things to do when I'm jamming with people is to just fall into a polymeter groove. If you don't know what polymeter is, it's pretty easy to explain. If we're in any meter, okay, let's say we're playing in 4/4, okay, I could play eighth notes that are in a grouping that is not in 4/4. So I could play like a grouping of 5 eighth notes over and over and over again, and that would give me a polymeter. For example, lay down a nice, tasty 4/4 beat for me.
I'm going to give you the most straightforward 4/4 beat there is.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so every 5 eighth notes would sound like 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5.
But with that going on, don't forget the most important thing is 1 2 3 and 4 and 1 and 2
1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. That's what polymeters are all about.
So it reminds me of if you're a kid running around at the playground and the parent is the quarter note in 4.
Ah, yes. The parent ushers you and keeps you safe.
1 2 3 4. Are you still alive, little Jonathan? Little Broden?
Broden?
Little Braden? Are you doing your own thing? Because I'm going to keep you bound to the quarter note in 4 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. And every time it's on 1, I make sure everybody's still around. 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. And it's more important. It's really beneficial if you can count this at 4 and also count the part at 5. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. But those are 16th notes, not 8th notes.
Now, if we counted that in 4/4, you'd have the traditional way to count that would be like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. That's really hard. It's hard to phrase your accents in something like 4/4 like that. So I have fallen into the habit of doing all my odd groupings the Indian style. If you've ever seen those awesome Indian videos where people ta ta ta. All that kind of stuff is really worth pursuing the knowledge on if you want to get a little crazier with your rhythm. So basically in Indian, you can count 5. Ta, di, gi, na, dom. Ta, di, gi, na, dom. To me, that's way faster than counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it just sounds cool. You're going to do ta, di, gi, na, dom, ta, di, gi, na, dom, ta, di, gi, na, dom, ta. So instead of actually keeping track of what beat I'm on, I like to just try to focus on ta, di, gi, na, dom, ta, di, gi, na, dom, ta, di, gi, na, dom, ta, da, 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 da. Now, here's a really cool thing. If I just start off by playing that 5 pattern, you might hear this as a 5. Well, you will hear it as a 5. But a good drummer, a crazy drummer like Jeff, is going to be able to say, hey, even though he's playing a 5 pattern, screw that. I'm just going to play in 4/4 on top of it and treat those not as pentuplets, but treat them as 16th notes. So here's what I want to do. I want to just start off by doing 5s, and then I want you to come in with a groove in 4 that'll whatever you want. You can come in
with the straightforward groove. It reminds me of the Kool-Aid man busting through the wall, being like, I'm
Oh,
the quarter note
yeah.
in 4. Just busting up everybody's fun time.
All right. So, by the way, I'm just doing 5-note pattern in pentatonic minor, in A pentatonic minor, nothing fancy, but I'll just kick it off. Now, so one of the things, I mean, it's a lot better if you like work out exactly what you're doing. We're just doing these continued polymeters like that. And also I'm doing just straight 5 notes. I'm just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's way more interesting, and I've talked about this in some of my videos, to put pulsings in between. So instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what if I did like an 8th note, an 8th note, and then a 16th note? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 gina doom tada gina doom tada gina doom tada gina.
Now here's my true choice. Do I come in 5 or do I come in with the plowing 4 quarter notes? Or do I come in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 1? And listen to
You
that
come in
groove
with
it
that.
creates. Listen to that young groove. And I don't have to stay in 4. I can go to the 5 anytime I want, as long as I keep it in the back of my mind as like a subroutine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. You can jump in whenever you want. And you can go back and forth.
So some random nonsense there for you, just playing around with those 5s like that. I have no idea what's going on with my tone setup either. And I tried getting this whole live string set up, and there's a lot of things still to be worked out. But how about instead of 5s, we talk about 7s? What's a cool way that you like to play 7? As opposed to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you think of 7, what are the pulsings that you think of, or the groupings you think of?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Really?
7. 1, 2, 3. It's probably the easiest way to do it,
Whoa!
in my mind. Because it's like 4 little fall back into the 1.
Why is there a glass mannequin head on your hi-hat stand,
I
Jeff?
don't remember. It's been a long time.
Does that glass mannequin have a name? Penstelwin? Ah, yeah. So for 7, I think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or how about I switch it? By the way, this stuff is really hard for me, so I have to like count out loud and keep track of it. And doing like a variation. What if I did 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, but then I did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's kind of like the same in reverse. I'm doing 2, 2, 3. And then I'm doing 3, 2, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's the
And
worst
it's funny
sound
because you could
ever.
also count that in 4, 6, 4.
1, 2, 1. Yeah, you
We
could.
won't
Yeah.
get into that.
One. Let's see here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2,
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Dum 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 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
go. Hang on. Keep that going for a second. Because there's also the other option to, again, come in with a straight 4 and just plow through and just ruin everything. But also keep everything tethered to the true quarter note in 4.
I screwed it up.
Oh, well.
3, 1, 2, 3 again.
The true test is, can you count the 7, or can you count the 4 while you're playing the 7?
No,
and
I
can
can't.
I count the 7 while I'm playing the 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Ah!
It's these are polymeters. It's just pretty much thinking outside the box while still being in the box.
Yeah, I mean, just a little quick comment on like the practicality of this. When you're writing something that you want, like I always think of polymeters as like a cloud. You can get this rhythmic cloud where things they're not evenly chopped up like in your normal measures. The measures are blurred because you've got lines that are flowing in on top of lines. So depending on the music you're composing, like King Crimson uses this cloud of polymeter all the time, and it works really well. But in a jam environment, it actually works good if you're not just doing something crazy. You know, if he's in 4/4 or in 6 or some rational time signature, then doing a polymeter in 7 or a 9 or 5 isn't horrible if it just kind of grooves. You know, it'll give it some interest and it'll kind of get between the measures like that.
And there's tactical polymeters, like the one
tactical TPs,
like the one in Africa. By
Jeff,
Toto.
keep them occupied. I'm going to grab my coffee.
All right, good luck. But the song Africa, if you don't know Africa, look it up. It's by Toto. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, it's in 4.
Play it for me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, dun, 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 dun.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So the first part is 3. So the whole thing is 7 beats long. Dun 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 dun. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, dun dun dun. Okay,
yeah, it is in 4.
It's
but
in 4.
Grouped in 3 and 5 if you think about it that way. But it's just in 4.
Yeah.
Let's leave it in straight 4.
So how about this? Let's try starting a jam that stays in 4/4, that keeps that 4/4 thing going. It would be a lot better if we had a bass player here to kind of hold things down, right?
I'll use my bass drum.
Yeah, so we'll try to keep it in 4/4, and then we'll slowly start introducing polymeters, and hopefully, we might not stick to a strict one, but you should be able to catch on. We'll make them obvious enough where you can hear, oh, there's a pulsing that's not just groupings of 8th note. Here's a pulsing that might be something in 7 or 9. So let's just start in 4/4, and then maybe slowly we just start introducing ideas.
Okay, here we go. And let's do 16th. Are we going to do 16th or 8th note bass polymeters?
I'm not sure. It depends on how fast you're playing.
Let's start with 8th note bass polymeters.
Okay.
1 and 2 and 3. I hope this is a good tempo for all you guys at home.
So just a 3. I'm just doing a 3 polymeter.
But those are grouped in 16th notes.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 E and a 3 E.
Now he's matching my polymeter.
What? And if anybody's a drummer out there, you can just play the same fill over and over again. So if you're doing groups of 3s, you can just do snare, tom, and kick drum in 16 notes in groups of 3s and have it sound different. 3 and 4 and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2. polymeter.
Now, how about I bring in a 5? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Take a quick break. You know, these polymeters can get really disturbing. So I like to kind of truncate the polymeter, you know, do it enough times until you start getting to the end of the measure. And then as soon as I hear like a 4E and, you know, you're really going to want to come back on the 1. So just laying into that 1 beat and restarting the polymeter over on the 1 beat can kind of like, you know, tame this whole thing. You were talking about the parent and the child at the theme park. So, you know, being mature enough to just be like, okay, let's just reset now and get everything back on time.
I call it building a ramp back to 1. So you can just, you don't have to walk there. You can just go back to 1 in the
you can
very easy way.
Slide your way. I think of it like a runner running to home base because I'm a sportsman.
Bro, he plays sport.
I play every sport.
Do you play puck ball?
I scored many goals.
I am goal man
in Puckman. So let's do this again. And then what I'll do is start doing those polymeters again, but you'll hear me restart them pretty quickly back on the 1 beat. And then I'll just like take a turn and then you can take a turn doing that. We'll try to switch on and off doing that.
And keep in mind, if any drummers are out there, that little thing I mentioned where you can play a polymeter, you just play the same pattern over and over again. So it sounds different every time. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But if you're playing it in 16 notes, it's 1 E and a 2E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And then you kind of build the ramp back.
Here, do this again for me. Start it again. We'll do it in just in 3s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, go 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm playing every 3rd note. Now I'll play every 4 notes. Back. Now back to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, Now, really quick, the rhythm that I fell into there is the unnameable rhythm. I have that video on my channel of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is technically like a clave rhythm, just offset. Yeah, and it doesn't have a name, but it is a clave rhythm, just offset. It's kind of a clickbaity title. I apologize. But that's what I just fell into there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I had the polymeter of 3s up until that last beat, and then it's like, okay, get things back and reset it all over again. So let's try something like that.
But what if you don't reset it?
If you don't reset it, you just keep riding that cloud. You're just constantly grooving over the measure until you finally sync back up on a 1 beat. And that's all going to determine what your 2 time signatures are. If you're in 8 and I'm in 5, if you're playing something that's 8 quarter notes long and I'm playing something that's 5 quarter notes long, then I will have to play my phrase 8 times for us to sync back up together on a 1 beat.
Because math.
You got it. Congratulations.
Case closed.
Speaking of math, this is my little promotional part here. I have been working for the last week on a video, and there's going to be some serious math involved. So if you stay tuned, it's either going to post late tonight or early tomorrow morning, but you should get a kick out of it if you like stuff like this. If you're into weird rhythms at all, you'll really get a kick out of it. Jeff, what did you think about the weird rhythm video as an experienced, licensed drummer?
It really showed me who I was at the core. You know, you don't really get the time to look at yourself in the mirror at my old age. So it really brought me back home and made me reevaluate my choices. And it also taught me a lot about weirdness.
That's really touching. You know, I didn't expect you to open up like this on our first live stream.
I'm trying to touch
everyone's heart. Every single heart. Well, let me know if he achieved a touch. By the way, I'm sorry I can't type. The computer's like in a different room over there, and I spent years. So if anybody's watching this, I did creep over there. I saw some people. Hi, and I apologize for not being able to respond to your comments. But how about this? Lay down a groove for me, and I'll do a 7 poly, or let's go. Ooh, how about 9? So for 9, I'll do 4 plus 5. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. Let's see here. 4 plus 5. I'll do 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I'll do 1, 2, 3, and then I'll do 1, 2. So
Actually,
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Why not do a descending pattern of all quantifiable and, you know,
There's my base.
homogenized, if you will.
So we want 4 plus 3 plus 2. 1, 2, and you said descending, so I'll try to make the pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That sounds like the Led Zeppelin song, the polyrhythmic version of Led Zeppelin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Horrible idea.
But I'll be playing it in 4.
I don't even know if I go 1, 2. Yeah, I got to change that a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. What do we do here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I think I got to throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. I messed it up.
And where will the true 1 be?
1, 2.
Where will we sync up on 1 together?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If I could play it correctly, maybe we'd figure it out.
1, 2, 3. Then do 8th notes.
That's boring though.
Okay, yeah.
I think we can do it if I just keep playing it here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, I had it and then I lost it.
It's okay.
It gets hard. Something like this, you'd write, maybe jam it out, see if you like it, and then I'd have to practice it. I don't have this stuff as good as he has it. But in my defense, I'm not a drummer.
That's wrong. No, he's right. He's not.
I'm not.
But let's think about it. If you're playing 4/4 and I want to play a pattern of 16th notes in groups of 5, and I wanted it to last for 2 measures of 4, how many? That'd be 32 16th notes.
Yeah. So you need to
'Cause it's
fill up.
16 times
You need
2
to fill up
measures.
32 16th notes, and
Yeah.
you're playing a grouping of 5.
Yeah.
So you could play that grouping of 5 6 times, and it would equal 30. And then you have 2 16th notes remaining. So you could do 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 boom, and you'd be back on a beat. Do you want to do that? I'll keep a simple. No, let's switch. I'll keep the simple 4/4, and you can go nuts on a polyrhythmic
It's
fill
really
here.
stupid.
It's awesome. So
But it's- hang on, it's great for trap music, or just like what is that?
Huh.
Like
Breakbeat?
breakbeat type
yeah,
stuff.
breakbeat
It's-
music.
This stuff is where polyrhythms really come in.
And I'm just gonna do like something like a.
Polymeters.
I'm gonna do like something like a simple bass groove, and I'll just do like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2. Is this a good tempo?
Yeah. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So how it's gonna go is like this: 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 3 4. So one more time: 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 3. And if I played it, it sounds like this: 2 3 4 2. That was kind of sloppy. I'm going to do it again. And it takes a little bit to get down. It takes some time. But once you get it down, and while you're doing it, it feels like you're just lost in the
Yeah,
middle of the ocean, where it's like, we're up. You just have to stay the course and know if you keep the 16th note consistent, you'll end on one, the true one.
So for something like that, a lot of times if he's doing a fill like that, I'm going to get lost, especially if you're doing something goofy. So I have to kind of just turn off my ear, which is terrible to say. In a jam, you really want to be listening to everybody. But when you've got a drummer like this guy, you kind of have to like, okay, just think about the quarter note, tap your foot, stay on that quarter note, and trust that he's staying on the same quarter note as you. And then eventually you can sometimes feel it. I can hear like, okay, we're with the polymeter. I can feel that one beat crashing back in. But sometimes it's just like you just cross your fingers and hope to God that you're just going to end right back up on that one beat together, and you just hope your drummer can keep time correctly.
Usually one time in a jam, if I'm jamming with somebody new, I do a fill like that to see if they have faith in me as a drummer.
This is your loyalty test?
Yeah.
Yeah, you administer the loyalty
Bro,
test
you
to every
trust me?
person in your band.
And if we end on one together, I stop the jam, shake their hand, and just leave. Because I know I don't have anything else to do except for trust this person for the rest of my life.
Every one of your doctors passed the Polyrhythmic
Everyone.
test.
They did. It's called the Polymeter.
The Polymeter test, yes.
In the industry, we call it the Polymeter test.
And you don't trust your life with anybody, your medical assistants, your financial help, unless they can perform a polymeter. I remember we went to the bank one time to deposit your check for $17 million.
Yep.
And you asked the teller immediately, before I trust you, can you perform a 19 to 11 polymeter? And she couldn't. And what did you do?
I left. I burnt the check in front of her and I left. I
And
said,
you know, as a musician, 2018, it's a hard world. You gotta really approach things from Jeff's point of view.
well, you have to stay the course. You know, you gotta get that cash.
You gotta get that cash.
So
Okay,
do the
let's do
5.
another one like that. I like it better where I just get to hang out in 4/4 and you get to go nuts.
Do
So
the 5 again.
how about I'll do a little bit different of a bass pattern. I'll do like something a little funkier, like we'll do. And I'm just going to zone out and try to hang out on that quarter note. So whatever you do, I'll try to figure out where your polymeter is, maybe accommodate it, but really, I'm just going to try and stay on time.
So I'm going to start with groups of 3s, doing 8 notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So it takes, I believe that was 3 measures, doing 8 notes to come back on 1. So instead of playing a fill, I'm going to play a beat in 3s. And it's going to be the true taste of faith. All right, here we go. Three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Actually, I want to do 16 notes. That was boring. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Let's do 5s. And remember, it was 6 groups of 5 with 2 left over. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. Oh, I messed it up.
I might have messed that one up. But keep doing this. I want
1 E
to.
and a 2 E.
I found myself doing a 5 pattern. So keep playing. All right. The pattern I'm doing there. Dup dup da dup dup da dup. Dup dup da 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 dup dum. And then I'm going to truncate it at the end to keep it in 4/4. So you'll get a lot of polymeter that gets all goopy, but it should wrap us back up at the end. All right, 3 and 4.
And the true test, keep doing that. But the true test is when you guys both do the same polymeter together. And if you end on 1, it's like if you're a cheerleader, you just let somebody throw you in the air and trust that they will catch you on the way down. Except we're both doing aerials.
Don't drop me.
I'm not holding you, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nice. Nice. I'm in 3. I'll go back to 5. And back to 3. Back to 5. Three. Cool, man. Very cool. So we just played a bunch of polymeters very sloppily on the entire internet, and the entire globe tuned in.
Every woman, man, child.
Hello to every one of you. Is there anything about polymeters? Well, I mean, there's a lot we could talk about with polymeters. Is there something else you wanted to kind of talk about, discuss, jam out?
If you really dwell on it, the concept of polymeters can be applied to any aspect of life.
Really, life is nothing but cycles, circles, cycles. Yes. So,
and bigger cycles within different cycles.
Like if you take a shower only every 4 days, but the week is 7 days long, then that means it takes you 28 days to shower back on the same day that you started on.
How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel clean.
Thank you.
Whoa!
But yeah, in any aspect, it helps you look at the situation, take a step back and look at the bigger situation and see what's actually going on.
Hey, what's the most famous example of polymeter?
3 to 4.
Yeah, in which song?
I don't know.
Oh God, they're gonna get so pissed at me that I can't play this.
What is it?
It's a Led Zeppelin song, and I don't know how to play it. So listen to his beat. Just keep playing. He's just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So he's clearly in the key or in the time signature of 4, 4, 4 beats. My pattern though goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2
That's
Oh, well, when Jeff's not drumming, he moonlights as a Robert Plant impersonator. He's the highest paid Robert Plant impersonator on the block. And that's saying a lot.
I make more money than Robert Plant himself, which is unfathomably dank.
And come on. He's got the looks, right?
Another one is a Dream Theater song.
Dream Theater Polymeter. Wait, let me guess. Wait a second.
And it's more of a feel change. They go back and forth between.
They do more polyrhythms than polymeters. I'm thinking maybe is it in Learning to Live?
No, it's
Oh, wait, no, that's metric modulation. I want to talk about that and I want to make a whole video on that.
but it's
Are you talking about
no, let's not go down that road.
No, we can do that. Let's
right.
talk about I want to hear your perspective on it. Talk to me about The
Can you
Mirror
play
by
it for me
Dream
for a
Theater.
minute?
Yeah. If I find a tone that's not that or this,
That'll
good
do.
enough for me.
Play it with no context. So this is what you have. Where do you count the quarter note? That's one way to count it.
Don't look at my foot. Just don't look at it.
All right, don't look at his foot. So yeah, where you place the quarter note either makes that a straight pattern or a polymeter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a group of 4, but you can count it in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's a group of 4. And if you count it as a group of 4 in 6, 8, it becomes a polymeter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And what's funny about this is you can switch 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on. I gotta count this.
Okay.
I gotta count 6 while playing 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. I don't know why I've never done that before.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, right?
Yeah.
That one, though, just in case you've heard that song, The Mirror by Dream Theater, it starts off, I mean, I would describe that as a polymeter because I'm doing triplets that are in groupings of 4, really. And I think, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's my pattern. But we're playing them as triplets. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 da 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 da. So it is a polymeter. But later on, what they do is Mike Portnoy is treating it like a triplet because his beat happens every 3 of these things. Dum, dum, dum. But later on, Mike Portnoy treats those things as 16th notes. So it just becomes 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a.
But if you were to truly count it, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You could treat it like that.
Truly.
And you could also, he also displaces the whole thing over a 16th note. So instead of 1 E and 2 E and, it becomes E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, which is so cool because John Petrucci's part is just this. It's just that for like a minute. It never changes. But everything else around it changes, and it makes that grouping sound completely different. And that's the power of metric modulation and polymeter specifically. You can get the same thing to feel different, which is awesome.
That's how it's relatable, applicable to life itself. You see something that's so apparent, so obvious that it's this one thing, but if you look at it from a different perspective, you realize it's a completely different thing.
All you need is a different lens
Right.
on your life. I like to look at the world through rose-colored glasses.
I like to take my eyes out and soak them in milk every night. Keeps me strong.
And that's why the world looks so nutritious and filled with vitamin C and calcium. That's why you have strong bones in your eyes, because you soak them in whole milk.
Juice.
Bone juice and whole milk. Okay, well, now that we're talking about bone juice and whole milk, I think we might have exhausted our ideas here for this evening. So going forward, I intend to do more live streams like this. I really want you guys to know more about this drummer, because honestly, I've mentioned in my other videos that like the musicians around me are what improve me. And musicians like Jeff are like freakish. I've never met somebody personally that can do what Jeff has done. And I mean, I've written music with this guy. I think I mentioned to you that I'm writing a concept prog rock album. And, you know, so many of those ideas came from him. But it's constantly a battle between, like, you know, introducing new ideas and assimilating them and constantly keeping you on your toes. For me, having a drummer like Jeff around has just been like so good for me as a guitar player, because it gets me out of just guitaring. You can tell them all that guitar players are the worst. I understand that we're the worst, but getting into rhythm solves a lot of that. You know, knowing
Yes,
a little bit about
definitely.
rhythm.
Most guitar players, almost everyone I've met, lacks so much in rhythm, which is totally understandable because it's
Yeah.
so easy to just and
Just feel your way.
feel
through it.
your way through the song onto one.
But I'm sorry, with heavy metal, like if you're going to play in a technical heavy metal band, there is no way you're going to be able to feel your way through all that. You're going to have a system, whether it's the system that we all use or not. You're going to have a system of counting and keeping track of things. And I don't know if you like I like technical metal. So to have some sort of system of counting that stuff and keeping track of it, it's pretty stinking important.
Word.
Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers, Jeff?
Just
I
you know,
agree.
apply everything you learn to other
Yes.
aspects of everything.
Yes. This isn't just for music. This is also for medical supplies
Yes, exactly.
and garage
Shark.
cleaning,
Sharking for you, all you sharkers out there. This one's for you. I love you.
And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the future. And it's going to be awkward because it's going to take me like a minute to go over there and shut down the live stream.
I'll just stand here and look at
Yeah, Jeff will
everybody.
keep you company, and he'll tell you a story about the day he was born.
The day I was born. Boy, let me tell you something. I remember everything about being born. I remember emerging from the womb, the blinding white light that I emerged into, the doctor spanking me to see if I was really real. Turns out I wasn't. It's really unfortunate. It's for myself, but for everyone in the hospital that day. But I learned to walk 3 minutes later. I left the hospital. I said, I'm out of here. I just never looked back. I learned to read and write when I was 13. I learned to snorkel when I was 61. I never learned how to fly a kite though, but you know, I learned how to fly an airplane, and I learned how to like manually take flight. I guess essentially fly as an individual. It's mid 80s. I got really into vintage ice cream.
Oh, good lord.
Bye.
Bye. Oops.